Hi math students, it's Mrs. Marcellus in Eratosthenes. Our time here in Bermuda is coming to a close. We got some snorkeling in this morning and now we're just waiting to head to the airport. While we're waiting, we thought we'd tackle this last piece of our unit, solving percent problems. Our learning objective today is students will solve percent problems involving finding the whole or the part by setting up and solving proportions. If we remember in our last lesson, we were always finding the missing part. Now we might be missing a part, a percent, or the whole. There's no new vocabulary today, but we will still be using the percent proportion. If you didn't record that in your notes in the last lesson, make sure you write it down now. Let's try some problems. In our first problem, let's solve 10 is 25% of what number? We're going to continue to use the percent proportion and we need to identify all the pieces. When we set up the proportion, we know that we're going to have two equivalent fractions. I always like to start with the percent. Percent is always over 100. That's our anchor point, our definition of percent. And that way I already have half of the problem set up. Next I need to determine where the 10 goes and which piece is missing. It says 10 is, and that is indicates that will be the part. We're trying to find of what number, and that is our missing piece. That means we're missing the whole. So we have percent over 100 equals the part over the missing whole. We want to know the total number. Next we can cross multiply, and when you cross multiply you always multiply the two numbers that are across from each other. In this case 10 and 100, and that equals 1000. Then we are going to divide by the number that is across from the missing value, which we marked with an X. So 1000 divided by 25 gives us our answer of 40. 10 is 25% of 40. Next, let's try 9 is 36% of what number? We'll start with the percent, and since we have 36%, we know we're going to have 36 over 100. We look at the problem and identify the key parts. 9 is, and of what number? 9 is indicates that will be the part, and of what number is the missing piece. It's the x, or the value that we're trying to find. Now that we have our proportion set up, we cross multiply. 9 times 100 is 900, and then we divide by the 36, and we find that x equals 25. 9 is 36% of 25. 72 is what percent of 400? Again, we need to identify the pieces that we have. We have 72 is, what percent, and that's the piece we're missing. We'll have to figure out the percent this time. And then we have of 400. We know that the percent always goes over 100. In this case, though, we're trying to find the percent. So that means we'll put the x over 100, and that's going to equal the part over the whole. 72 is the part, and that is out of 400, so 400 would be the whole. We can now find the percent. 100 times 72 is 7,200. Then we have to take that number and divide by the 400, and that equals 18%. Therefore, 72 is 18% of 400. Next, let's find 4 is what percent of 50. We first identify the parts of our problem. We have 4 is, which will be the part. We also have of 50, which will be the whole. We are trying to find what percent. That is the unknown value. Percent always goes over 100, but in this case we do not know the percent. So we're going to put our x over 100, and we'll set that equal to 4 over 50. The part of 4 identified by the is over 50, which is the whole. Next we cross multiply, which equals 400, and we will divide by 50. 400 divided by 50 equals 8%. Therefore, 4 is 8% of 50. Next, let's find what number is 85% of 60. First, we'll break our problem up into pieces. We have what number is, we have 85%, and we have of 60. What number is the missing part. To set up our proportion, first we'll put 85 over 100, because the percent always goes over 100. And this sets up half of our proportion. Then we need to determine the other half. Since we have of 60, we know that that is the total amount, or the whole, and we're trying to find what number out of 60 is 85%, so that would be a part of 60. So we'll put our x on top. Next we'll cross multiply, and we get 5,100. We next need to divide that by 100, and that gives us an answer of 51. 51 is 85% of 60. When snorkeling the North Rock, the largest coral reef in Bermuda, in the first 5 minutes, the fish in the list were among those that Eratosthenes and I saw today. What percent of these fish are blue angelfish? First, we need to determine what the question is asking us. The question asks what percent, and that's our missing value, of these fish, and that would be the total number of fish we saw, are blue angelfish, and that would be the part. To set up our proportion, we'll write x over 100, and then we need to determine what to set that equal to. There are 12 blue angelfish, and that is part of the fish that we're seeing, so we'll write that on top. To find the whole, we'll have to add all the numbers in the table. 6 plus 12 plus 7 plus 10 plus 15 equals 50 fish altogether. So that will be our whole. To solve, we will cross multiply 100 times 12, and that gives us 1,200. Then we must divide that by 50. 1,200 divided by 50 gives us our final answer of 24%. 24% of the fish are blue angelfish. Well, I'd say we had an amazing trip to Bermuda, and we sure did learn a lot. We're definitely no longer afraid of that mathematical Bermuda Triangle, are we, Eratosthenes? Pythagoras and Einstein absolutely loved the honey that we brought them.